role of the template in request flow. Oh, it sounds so romantic and pretty. What is its role? Well, okay, how are templates used? Well, templates are used with blocks to visually, prettily present stuff. So, particularly in here, we'll look at the root template, and we'll look at removing a child from the template page. So I'm told I don't actually remember that in the lesson, but we'll see if that's a true statement still. Okay. I'm sure everybody, who's going to go back home and get this tattooed? I know someone will. Gotta love it. Yeah, right there. Cheat sheet. Initialization application gives us our front end, really gives us our front controller. And then we get into our controllers, and we have it here, our rendering. So rendering is where we are. We've gone quite far down the rabbit hole today. Rendering is blocks. Those blocks may instantiate some models to get some data that they need, models grabbed from the database. And then we might incorporate a template. And once we've incorporated the template, hey, we get some output. That's it. That's what we're doing. We have pretty much most of the day tomorrow exploring this. Hope. It's such a great day for me, especially for those of you who've have dealt with Magento and dealt with layout XML, and hopefully tomorrow will be a very big light bulb day. We won't even need these things. All right, so blocks. Again, let me interject here. The blocks are the thing in Magento. So, any one of these things is really almost always going to be a combination of two components. Some block class and some template file. I'll give you another little shorthand. Block classes, those are the PHP classes. Those are PHP files. Those are under our modules. So, for example, day 2 blocks. That's where we will find block classes. Templates are PHTML. And those we find in our themes. Okay? So that's what each of these blocks are. All right. So, knowing that, you can see, okay, well, this is a block and a template. This is a block and a template. Maybe, actually, this one might not be a template. I think it is. Yes, it is. This one, block and a template, so forth, so forth. You see they all kind of contain each other. Well, so we have to deal with this concept of how we, where do we start? How does the system know where to start? Because actually what happens with the layout object, all the layout object has is a flat array of blocks with just key pieces of information to set up certain relationships about who's a child of whom, as well as one key piece of information to find out where to start rendering. Basically define what is the outside block. And that is, in Magento, is called the output block. So when we have the output block, we kind of kick off the rendering from there. Again, this is great. I'm telling you all this stuff that you really don't ever even have to think about, but we'll tell you because you're here. Output block, the outermost block. All the other blocks inside are child blocks. And they are accessed using getChildHTML. And I have a slide here. We're going to start looking at these template files and looking at these getChildHTML calls. All right? All right, so getChildHTML Renders child blocks according to the block name or alias supplied in the argument. Well, what does that mean? It's kind of dry. We could specify a string in here, and that string in here refers to a name that was set at some point, usually in layout XML. More on that later, but just know that getChildHTML is the method that we use to call children, and that it's actually recursive. So calling getChildHTML in here to get, for example, this page area, we'll call the template, and then inside there, that template, there may be a getChildHTML call, and then in the content area, there'll be a getChildHTML call. So it's just recursive. GetChildHTML calls are recursive and down. So you may have any number, any level of depth. And that's all on that for now. Again, that's plenty of that tomorrow. So let's look at, this is a PHTML template. Okay, and this one I think we are in, this is the one layout. So this would be, you could find something like this, maybe this is from Enterprise, I don't know if this is Enterprise or what, but app design front end. And I'm telling you this because we're going to start playing around with these files here. So I don't remember if this is from the Enterprise theme or not, but so to find templates, app design front end, okay? And then package theme and template. So we're either in Enterprise default or base default and your installs. And then in there, page, one column, .phtml. I believe that's correct. So if you look in there, you'll see, okay, here's all this. Well, this looks like nice HTML. The only thing that we have different from HTML are some PHP calls. And by the way, short tags, don't use them. They're deprecated. They're going away. They do look pretty, though. I admit that's the bracket question mark equals, just to echo. Unfortunately, they are going away, and they're a configurable option at the server level. So the Magento, the convention is to use a proper echo call. All right. So all of these functions that you see in here, this is actually whatever block class this is. Okay. So that thing I just erased, the blocks, block class template. In a template, this refers to the block class. And that happens because this template, actually, when rendering happens, this template is literally included in that class, which is why this works. So we have these various little function calls, and then we have our getChildHTML, and we specify something. So in the root template, I really should have erased that. You have your basic structural block. One column. And we need to get that head block because we need all of our instructions, our JavaScript, and CSS, and meta information. Well, that's all contained in some head block. And then down here we have some other ones. getChildHTML, global messages, header, content. Okay. So this is a PHTML file. This is what templates look like in Magento. Okay? This is another example of a template in Magento. Now, let's get a little tactile. All right, so I think the instructions are, go Enterprise default, template page, one column. I would recommend, rather than going through and like deleting by hand, I just do a search and replace. You actually don't really have to do this. You can watch me do this. They pay me to type. So, app, design, front end, enterprise, default. Where's that little guy? Enterprise, default. So enterprise package. So under app design, we have our design areas, not config areas, design areas, front end. And under front end, we'll have our package folders. Our two packages here are base and enterprise. And inside each of these package folders are theme folders. Again, the folders directly under a design area are packages. And any folders underneath a package folder is a theme. And then the structure that you'll see common, template, layout, Etsy and locale, most often template and layout in a theme. So template, and then, okay, let's see, page, one column. All righty. What's the expected behavior if I do something like, let's see. Okay, so what's the expected behavior here? Let me go to my website and let's see. What do we think is going to happen? I like the idea that I heard someone say all content's going to go away. But we view source. Yeah, we have that first template. We don't have any of the other sub-child templates because we got rid of those get child HTML calls. Okay, and that's the whole point of that lesson. I can't wait. I mean, obviously, we get so much further into this tomorrow. That's what tomorrow is just a fantastic day of connecting blocks and templates and routers, making things happen. Okay. Do we have any questions about this little brief example here? No? Okay.
How about show some partial of the child?
Get child HTML?
Yeah, get child.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay, so it's actually good. I like that. Let's do that. So let's go back to my. Okay, let's see. All right. Let's get rid of the header here. And then let's do this again. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Got a lot more content in here now. So if I were to, let's see. Let's do this again here. Okay, well, now let's just add just the header. Oh, I did not mean to do that. That's awesome. I love how that close and save are like right next to each other. All right, well, let's just refresh this here. So. I've got a little more content now. Well, I've got my navigation and everything in there. That's cool. All right, so what would that look like on the front end? Or actually rendering the output. Probably unstyled because we're not including that header block. So that header template, that's kind of important. That's page HTML. Oh, that's actually going to be in base default template because it wasn't in enterprise default template. I would expect it to be under page HTML head. That file's not here, so design will fall back to here. So here we have lots of stuff. Here's our meta title, some other meta information. Oh, look, some basic JavaScript stuff. CSS, JS, HTML. The getChildHTML with an empty, with no parameter pass, it actually will get all of the child blocks. Which is handy. Because in our layout XML, if we wanted to add something here, we wouldn't have to go in the template and specify getChildHTML my block. We could just make our block a child of this block. So once we add this block back, well then this template's going to be called, and anything inside of it would be called as well.